Hi, I'm Sharon and welcome to my channel and to part 4 of my creative journaling series. As I said in my introductory video, these next journals that I'm featuring are my soft cover, handmade, evidence and study journals. I make these from a collage masterboard and I use a manila folder as a base. My measurements are 8 inches square because this is the size and format I've come to love using after much experimentation. It's entirely a personal preference though. If you find a rectangular format and different measurements suit you better, go for it. Cut your cover and pages to your measurements. There's no right or wrong way to use these to make or use these journals. Following is a short tutorial on making them. It's a short version of a much longer and more detailed class I'm currently editing and that will go up in my website classroom very soon. It includes making the masterboard and the journal, tips and tricks on collage collection, storage and process, lots of additional material like getting contrast in your work, different variations and ways of creating a masterboard, working with colour, working with neutrals, how to start an evidence journal, uses for the leftovers and lots more. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy this condensed version. So first step, create your masterboard cover. Here I'm using neutrals on a manila folder base. I'm using Mod Podge and a brush, and I'm working in a grid pattern from the outside in. Build contrast with different tones, patterns and font sizes. Fill gaps with small pieces. Now you've got your board, cut your cover. Cut an 8-inch piece and from that 8 inches from one side and 9 inches from the other. Turn it over and measure 8 inches from the longest side and score a line that will create your inch spine. Fold and crease. A bone fold is good for this sort of thing. Here's the finished cover. I've added images, inked the edges and rounded the corners. Now to add paper to the inside cover. I'm going to be using crumpled brown paper, but you can use whatever you've got. Cut it to the size of the cover with some overhang. Use lots of glue, especially on the edges. Position your cover on your paper and make sure it sticks. Go all around, taking a lot of care with the edges, rubbing into it, trying to make sure that it adheres really well. If you notice places that haven't stuck very well, add some more glue and rub down again. Now leave it to dry thoroughly before you trim the edges. Now we're going to add a 2-inch wide strip of cotton fabric or paper to the spine. This adds a decorative touch, but it also adds some strength. Center and glue down lightly. Try not to press too hard or the glue will come through and leave a stain. Flip it over and glue down the raw edges onto the back. Cut yourself a strip of paper 3 inches by 8 inches, and we're going to glue that down the spine and over those raw edges. Again, this gives a nice decorative touch, but it also adds even more strength to the spine area. Once it's all glued down really well, make sure to leave this all to dry really thoroughly before you move on to the next step. Now your cover's completely dry, recrease the folds. Make an 1 by 8 inch template out of a scrap of paper, and this will be your template for punching holes for the stitching. Fold your template in half lengthways and then in half the other way. Fold up from one end about half an inch. Then fold up so that that bottom fold matches the center fold. Turn it around and do the same for the other end. Now you're going to want to put dots at each fold mark. And because we've got 5 signatures, you're going to want to put 5 dots on each fold. You can measure this, but I tend to prefer to eyeball it. Mark the top so that even if there's a little bit of difference between top and bottom, all your signatures will match. Punch holes using that template. And now you want to get your sheets of paper and make them into signatures. Here I'm using cartridge paper. Folded in half, the finished measurement is 7 3/4 inches. And I've got 20 sheets, 20 folios, and I'm putting 4 in each signature. Now taking the first signature and put your template inside it. A big book's a great idea for helping to punch the holes. Remember that your top punched hole goes to the top of your journal. Now I like to work from the back signature forward and with my book cover facing this way. But have a go and find your own rhythm. Now you want a thread that's about 2.5 to 3 times as long as the book cover. And you're going from the outside into the center line, center fold, center hole, and in through the signature. Now you want to go down through the next hole in the signatures and through the cover and through the spine and back out. Now you're going into the top hole of the cover, top hole of the signature, back down into the second hole in the signature and the second hole in the spine. Here you want to miss that center hole and go into the fourth hole, through the signature and down into the fifth hole. Come up back into the fourth hole in the signature, and out the center hole. And now what you have is both thread tails are coming out the center hole. You want to make sure that you've got one of those threads on either side of that long stitch. Pull all your threads up so they're nice and snug and tight. Take your binding clips off. Now to enclose that long stitch, knot those tails 2 or 3 times. And that will enclose that long stitch. And make sure that they don't come out. Repeat for the other 4 signatures. So here we are, finished journal, 5 signatures sewn in. I've snipped my threads off. I'm not interested in having them long, but this is your personal journal, so to individualize it any way you like. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the process, and I hope you thoroughly enjoy using your journal, sketchbook, art journal, whatever way you decide to use it.